Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, we'll be talking football now, and Pinnick joins us now, the NFF chairman. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
But we'll be starting with FIFA. We do know that there's a lot of talk about FIFA, and while they were talking about FIFA, they also mentioned Africa. They have this block support for Sepp Blatter, and many wondered at that time. So, what happens if Blatter is out? Why is Africa supporting him that much?
Yeah, not just Africa. I mean, the developing nations, especially, CONCACAF, CONIBAL, and then the Asia Federation, There are 209 member nations in FIFA, and all these nations have benefited tremendously from the largesse that comes from FIFA. When you say FIFA is a very wealthy organization, yeah, it is, but the impact on various federations, every federation have inroad into their finances. For example, in England in 2012, for their medical, setup, FIFA gave them $500,000. In various countries, or if everything you want, you can access it from FIFA. So there are a lot of goal projects, there are a lot of developmental projects, there are a lot of technical projects. So, but you see, it is more vocal, it's more pronounced in developing nations because these things are alien, these things are new, where you build an head office of a federation, and you say, wow. In developed nations, you won't go there and build a head office. For example, the English FA, they have their own English, but you can do some other things. So when you do things in developing nations, it becomes really visible and say, wow. So that's where, and besides, I had my own personal stint with Blatter when he came to Nigeria during Nigeria 99. I was one of the volunteers that worked very closely with him, and I had an opportunity of chatting with him. And that's when I fell in love with him, because he told me that even in 2005, 1995, Nigeria was to host the under-20 that was moved, There was some
I remember he complained at that time because Jack Warner was in town.
No, he complained bitterly. No, 1995, Nigeria was to host. Before we now hosted in 1999. He walked up to his boss then, Johan Valentine, said, why are we not hosting? Because there was some remote concern about cholera in one remote village in Kaduna. He said, but that doesn't mean, He has always been very fanatical about Africa as a continent. So when I had this personal conversation with him, he was really emphatic on what he wanted to do for Africa. He told me he was going to bring the World Cup to Africa. He told me he was going to bring a lot of developmental projects. He told me A, B, C, and ended up doing A, B, C, D, E, F. So, I mean, if I were you, what would you do? You support that person. So that's the effect he has on us in Africa and these developing nations. An amazing effect. He calls you by your first name. He relates with you. So, I mean, we just feel that he's somebody that is an African, but maybe in a white complexion,
So are we bothered or concerned, and how much so, now that all of these allegations are making the rounds? If he steps aside, what happens to all that support and all that we had gotten before?
No, I mean, whoever is coming in cannot ignore Africa. It's impossible for you to ignore Africa. Like I said, there are 209 member nations. Africa, we have 54 votes. Europe have 54 votes. But we have a lot of sympathy and alliance already with the Asia Federation, with CONIBAL, with CONCACAF. So Africa is a continent that you can never ignore. And the beauty of Africa, let me say it, which even Europe do not have. We come as one indivisible unit under the leadership of Issa Hayatou, Though Issa Hayatou is always of the opinion that you can take your own decision because you are all, adults and you're all from various federations. But we have decided, not on paper, that we must toe a line because united, we feel we stand strong. And whoever is going to come in, will come and sit with us and negotiate with us to continue what Blatter has been doing for us and even up the ante in that regard. So that's basically what we're doing.
Is the continent thinking of a candidate?
Yeah, the continent is, we are not, we just talk among ourselves. Like I spoke to one of my colleagues this morning. We talk, but we're not coming out here to say this is, we just feel that it's a very critical moment. African football is growing. So we don't just want to jump the gun. We just want to we want to look who is going to come in and who Africa continent will benefit tremendously from. So, I mean, my friend, the Liberian Federation president, has come out and said, he called me and said he wanted to run. I said, yeah, he said he wanted to run. I said, why not? I mean, why can't he run if he wants to? And I said, I encouraged him. I said, but you have to talk to one or two of us, and make sure that we, he told me some other things, but let's leave that for some other time. But I can tell you that whoever we're going to support, nobody can relegate Africa. It's not possible.
The scandal that rocked FIFA Did it bother you and your colleagues as to how it will make the African continent look in the area of football?
No, I mean, to us, you know, I don't understand what you mean scandal, you know.
The bribery scandal.
No. To me, all those are subjudice, and I am not going to discuss on anything that is. There are investigations going on, and investigations that will lead to criminal proceedings. So I don't think we want to dwell on that, because the only reason why we support Blatter, for example, is because he has not been indicted. Nobody supports corruption. Nobody. Yeah. Corruption is capable of bringing down. He's a cankerworm. He's very monstrous, you know. It's bringing down everything you built within seconds. So we are not going to dwell on that. So, but even if Blatter did not resign, even if they don't indicate the interest of stepping down, and if eventually he was indicted, I can assure you, this same Congress would have called for an extraordinary Congress and have him removed. You know, like, we respect the U.S. investigative agencies, the U.S. border security, the Swiss, other investigative bodies, because ultimately what they are doing will bring sanity and an appreciable level of integrity into running of football, you know. But what they keep saying is that, oh, Blatter is the head. What about the other confederations? It's like me saying, oh, J.J. Costa, the chairman of Delta FA, is corrupt, and you link it to us. No, these are adults from various confederations, or the chairman of Plateau, my friend Sunday. You know, you can say, you know, but what we intend to do in future is to do integrity checks coming from the various confederations or
would
federations.
This help to, you implied it, but would it help to open up the football administration generally in terms of transparency?
I mean, you know, we did that years ago. Months ago. One of the things I know that were really affecting football in globally is people look at football from various prisms, and what we decided to do to attract Nigerian corporates, us, is bringing very reputable companies to partner us in areas of like finance, for example, financial derivatives. You know them. They are very tall in terms of reputation. Pricewaterhouse, you can't beat them. They are number one. Bain and Co. All these are companies that are. It's not Amaju Pinnick decision. It's a congressional decision to have them appointed.
Let's bring it home.